Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Joe Palmer begins now.
Good evening, everyone. Members of the Ulverstone community say they're in shock following a major police operation at a local gun store. The 58-year-old owner was last night charged with more than 80 firearms offences, including possession of unregistered guns and falsifying records.
A quiet street today returning to its usual setting following this commotion yesterday.
They spent the whole day there, and so then, of course, they saw the news earlier on this morning and late last night, and it was quite a shock, really, that what had happened.
Today, the 58-year-old gun and security shop owner came and went from the adjoining craft store, which was business as usual after also being closed down by police yesterday. The accused has been charged with more than 80 firearms offences following a police investigation. He's also had his dealer's licence suspended. The raft of charges including possessing unregistered firearms and falsifying records. Police also seizing a large quantity of guns and ammunition. Residents today saying they're still shocked.
People would come and get their guns sorted and, get their ammunition, whatever, so we just carried on, thought, well, that's, fair enough.
Something you don't see every day, do you? Something different. And the place is getting like Chicago.
Members of the community say the Guns and Ammo Ulverstone security store has been operating for at least the last 10 years, with its customers granted access by appointment only.
People are concerned about firearms and guns, and they make sure everything's above board and people stick to the rules and regulations, really, yeah.
The accused has been bailed to appear in the Devonport Magistrates Court on January 29 next year. Jessie Gilmore, 7 Tasmanian News.
A woman is behind bars tonight after being found guilty of murder in the Launceston Supreme Court. Prosecutors alleged Belinda Leonie Colburn stabbed Aaron Matthew Monaco to death in November of 2016. Today, it took the jury just 4 hours to agree.
Belinda Leonie Colburn stared forward and did not react as the word guilty was read out in the court. It was on this street on the night of November 4, 2016, where she fatally stabbed Aaron Matthew Monaco. Police arrived to find the 41-year-old clinging to life on a doorstep. He was rushed to the Launceston General Hospital but was pronounced dead. Prosecutors relied heavily on a police interview the day after the murder, where Colburn said she remembered stabbing Mr Monaco in a drunken blur. That conflicted with witness testimony by co-accused Nathan Thomas Smith, who claimed he alone had taken Mr Monaco's life. Colburn's defence urged the jury to accept his evidence, while the Crown said it should be approached with extreme caution. Today, Justice Gregory Geeson said they could consider verdicts of murder, manslaughter, aiding or abetting or accessory after the fact. It took them just under 4 hours to decide it was murder. Facing her brother's killer, Holly Mason White left court relieved the trial is finally over. Colburn was remanded and is expected to face court on Tuesday for sentencing submissions. Sean McComish, 7 Tasmanian News.
Rebel Speaker Sue Hickey has once again locked horns with her party, this time urging them to do more to fix our embattled hospitals. She says the current state of the health system is diabolical and the government is failing to take basic steps to relieve constant pressures.
Just a few months ago, the Health Minister and the Speaker spruiking the government's hospital spending. Today, it's a different story. How would you describe the current state of our health system?
Diabolical, and I think the government admits that.
Outlining her own plan to overhaul what she calls a hospital catastrophe, calling for short-term solutions like a 24-hour pharmacist on site, a more streamlined computer service, and more cleaners and orderlies for quicker patient turnaround.
We need to look for immediate solutions. So maybe we can use things like the Wellington Clinic after hours, maybe we can use that brand new medical facility out of Glenorchy after hours, but it all is dependent on funding.
Saying staff feel ignored and political agendas should be put aside to make way for progress.
We've got to look at health as something that will suit our community for the next 10 and 20 years. And that means a really big conversation across all parties in government to see what we're prepared to fund and support.
I don't believe that a talk fest is what's required. When we first came into government, we spent the better part of a year and a half consulting with health professionals right across our state. We continue to do that.
It's extraordinary that we are now in the situation where we have a member of the Premier's own team calling him out for lack of leadership in this area.
The Premier saying he would take the Speaker's comments on board, but she would not be offered the job of Health Minister anytime soon. Michelle Wisby, 7 Tasmanian News.
As Tasmania's traffic woes continue to worsen, the peak public transport body says more could be done to ease congestion. Fronting an annual government scrutiny committee today, the Metro boss said more people were catching buses across Tasmania, with 8 million trips recorded last year. But Metro says changes could be made to make bus journeys quicker and easier, to attract more passengers and to help fight traffic bottlenecks.
At the moment, Metro has limited protection from traffic, so we're stuck in the same traffic as everybody else, which is probably not ideal.
The Public Trustee, Hydro and Sustainable Timber will face hearings tomorrow. The annual Tasmanian Volunteering Awards have opened for another year, offering a chance to recognise those who give back to their community. Launched in Hobart today, the awards celebrate volunteers from a range of different areas, including tourism, sport, emergency services and health. Tasmania has the largest proportion of volunteers in the nation, contributing more than 7 million hours of their time each year.
If volunteering were an industry in Tasmania, we would be the largest industry in Tasmania based on the economic output of our volunteers.
Nominations can be made through the Volunteering Tasmania website until March 10. An analysis of insurance claims has revealed the main risks for Tasmanian drivers. Amy found Tasmanians are the worst in the country for crashing into parked cars. We're also above the national average for colliding with other stationary objects, with those incidents accounting for almost 30% of Amy's claims. The insurer says there were more than 8,000 crash claims in the last financial year in the state, and the most common day for a collision is a Friday. Tasmanian firefighters have touched down back home after responding to a call for help during Queensland's bushfire crisis. They helped local emergency crews protect lives and property.
Firefighters returning to Tasmania today after an intense deployment to Queensland. As the state faced an unprecedented bushfire crisis, we sent crews last Thursday and Saturday.
The local fire service volunteers and career staff were stretched to the limits, and subsequently that's why we went up to assist. The day that we arrived, it was absolutely horrendous, the temperatures.
More than 140 bushfires have been burning across Queensland, fanned by the heatwave conditions. Some of those fires on Stradbroke Island, where 2 Tasmanian strike teams were sent.
So we undertook night shifts on Stradbroke Island, monitoring the fire behaviour, and the strike team that worked throughout the day, putting control lines and backburning operations on the western side of the fire.
While there were thanks on arrival home, the most grateful were the Queensland crews seeking relief.
The minute we got off the plane, everyone wanted to come up and say thank you, shake our hands and just show their appreciation that we come over to allow them to have a bit of a rest. Obviously the guys and girls over there have been working for weeks on end now.
Beyond the relief we provide for their crews, it also gives our people experience and a bit of a head start into our own fire season.
Parts of Queensland were hit by storms overnight, causing some damage but providing much needed relief from the bushfire conditions.
The last couple of days they've been a little bit milder, so firefighting conditions eased somewhat, so we're very grateful for that.
Another contingent of Tasmanian firefighters is expected to return on the weekend. Michael Breen, 7 Tasmanian News.
And on a disappointing note, Tasmania's efforts to help battle the Queensland blazes were hampered by the brazen theft of firefighting gear. $8,000 worth of Tasmania Fire Service equipment was stolen in South Launceston on Sunday. Another $3,000 was also taken from a state emergency service vehicle in Newstead on Monday.
Certainly disappointing. This equipment was earmarked to go with personnel up to assist with the Queensland fire emergency efforts. It's specialist equipment, it's tool bags, specialist cameras for investigation.
Anyone with information is urged to contact police. Plenty of us believe Hobart is a buzzing city, but this is taking it to the next level. A street sign on Bathurst Street has been taken over by a swarm of bees. Thousands of them are refusing to budge, forcing pedestrians to give the area a wide berth. Budding Tasmanian filmmakers have showcased their work at the My State Student Film Festival. Over 90 schools submitted 306 films, vying for 21 awards. And students from Rosny College scored the Premier's Award for a documentary about an endangered Tasmanian fish.
It was awesome to win the My State Award. I think it's really great that My State gets behind filmmakers and pushes people. And it's just a really good thing for Tasmania.
The quality of these films is just unbelievable. It really is first class. The quality of the filmmaking, of the editing, of the music, that the original scores that the students of Tasmania are making, and the quality of the acting.
Taroona High won the My State Award, and Transistor Youth Arts took out 4 prizes. Now let's take a look at the day's business and finance news with thanks to Tasplan, your local super fund. The Australian share market has finished the day almost 1% lower in a broad-based sell-off sparked by worries there won't be a US-China trade truce. The ASX 200 index has dropped by 44.7 points, and just a short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at 72.89 US cents and 82.38 Japanese yen.
It's official, Tasmania will have its own side in the NBL, but not the Australian one. As of 2019, the Southern Huskies will make its way across the ditch to play New Zealand's National Basketball League in the hope it will be a stepping stone to the top-tier league back home. The Huskies were hoping to join the Australian NBL, selling thousands of foundation memberships based on the idea. But after the club's bid to purchase the Derwent Entertainment Centre fell short, plans have changed.
Because we'd signed so many members, we thought we really need to get on the court and start playing.
Striking a 5-year deal to become the 9th franchise in New Zealand's National Basketball League, the Huskies are the first Australian team to join the competition.
Playing in a level slightly below the Australian NBL and a bit above what is now a defunct Seabull was just an opportunity too good to sort of pass up.
With the official 2019 schedule, which begins in April, still to be released, it's expected the side will compete in an 18-round fixture, playing 9 games in New Zealand and 9 in Tasmania.
We haven't finalised the venues yet, but we're talking to the deck and to the Silverdome, so we like to think we'll be able to split the games evenly between the north and the south.
The club has also been busy recruiting, signing Adelaide 36ers forward and potential NBA prospect Harry Froling, former Perth Wildcat and Northwest Thunder guard Mason Bragg, and poaching Hobart Chargers championship-winning coach Anthony Stewart on a 3-year deal.
I feel like there's not much more we could have achieved in the coaching stakes, and then this opportunity comes up. Well, it's obviously the next step in my career path as a coach.
The Huskies say they're still working towards joining the Australian NBL within the next 2 years, adamant they can field a team in both competitions, providing the club can now find a site within the state to purchase in order to build its own stadium.
We're ploughing forward, into the Australian NBL. That's still the plan. That's still the direction we're in, and this is just the first step in it.
And with the Huskies on the hunt for talent, the Hobart Chargers playing list could be decimated as a result. Having already lost their coach to the new franchise, several of the side's stars are now also expected to jump ship. The Chargers president has been the face of the Huskies' NBL push in the past few months, but was a very notable absence at today's NBL announcement.
I came to the conclusion that I can't wear both hats. I need to represent one or the other.
After spending the past 2 years helping to build the Chargers into the Seabull's #1 club, it's now back to the drawing board, with championship players Craig Moller and Trey Nichols expected to join coach Anthony Stewart at the Southern Huskies.
He goes with my blessing. I've talked for many weeks now with him about the hard decision he had to make.
The president instead directing his frustration at Basketball Tasmania.
The peak body of the sport in this state is unable to answer fundamental questions about the landscape we're entering into.
With the Seabull debunked, Tasmania's 3 clubs are now hoping to join a new Victorian Elite League from next year, only there's a hold-up.
The BTAS are supposed to sign off on all 3 Seabull clubs entering this new league. They haven't done so yet, and they're unable to provide us the criteria under which they will do so.
Basketball Tassie's adamant it's working to ensure the best possible outcomes for the three clubs. Bartlett says they have till tomorrow to make up their mind.
But what we can't deal with is shifting sands. We need absolute certainty going forward.
And each Tasmanian State League team will get the opportunity to host a home final next year, with AFL Tasmania moving away from last season's controversial decision to host them exclusively at UTAS Stadium or Blunston Arena. The 2019 fixture also includes 6 night games, 2 twilight games, 2 Good Friday blockbusters and the traditional Anzac Day clash between Glenorchy and Kingborough. The season begins on March 30 with Launceston taking on Glenorchy at Windsor Park and North Hobart hosting Lauderdale. The self-proclaimed King of King Island will return for the state's Christmas Carnival series, with Stuart McSwain set to race at the Latrobe, Devonport and Burnie Carnivals. It will cap off a massive 2018 for the middle distance runner, who claimed his maiden Diamond League victory in the UK throughout the year, along with becoming the second fastest Australian ever over 3,000 and 5,000 metres. The Carnival series begins on December 22 in Rosebery. After severe weather forced the cancellation of last month's Southern Schools Triathlon's challenge, a record number of entrants have turned out to compete for the day one of the 2-day event at Bellreef Beach. More than 3,500 students have registered, with funds raised from the challenge going towards supporting young Tasmanians diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. At just 5 years of age, Tasmanian Cruz Kelly says he's ready to follow in his father's footsteps and take on the world. Cruz and his dad Marcus, himself a Formula 500 champion, will head to America to compete later this month.
He may only be small, but Cruz Kelly certainly has a serious need for speed.
I like racing against other people.
The son of Marcus and Lisa Kelly has been driving, racing and riding since the age of 3.
It doesn't matter if you're going over to the house, he'll race you running on the scooter. Doesn't matter what it is, he just wants to race. So if we're out on the farm working on the bikes, when it's time to go back, it's on.
The father and son share a special bond. Marcus was Formula 500's 2013 Australian champion, but he retired 2 years ago. And in order to help Cruz get a head start in the industry, they'll fly to the US on December 28, where Cruz will take on the world's best sprint car drivers at the Tulsa Shootout.
To do sprints in Australia, it's 14 or 16 years old, and over there you can start at 5 or 6. So if we do this for a few years, by the time he's of age here, he'll be really good.
And while the pair are there, Marcus will also have one final crack.
I've tried 3 times, come close to getting into the feature, but I haven't quite got there yet.
When Cruz puts his helmet on, he becomes a cool, calm and collected speed demon. And he can't wait to be in his element with Dad by his side.
Here we're going to America.
Trained by Tasmanian Speedway legend Craig Munday, Cruz Kelly is certainly going to be one to watch. Jessie Gilmore, 7 Tasmanian News.
What a little legend. And finally in sport, Tasmanian Alex Peroni's hopes of driving in next year's Formula 3 championships have been given a huge boost, with the 19-year-old wrapping up a successful test program in Abu Dhabi. Despite no previous experience driving in the class, Peroni was among the front runners for much of the 3-day testing, posting top 5 lap times in 2 of the 6 track sessions. He'll find out in the coming weeks if his entry into the 2019 Formula 3 Championship is confirmed. Fingers crossed, Joe, too. It couldn't happen to a nicer young bloke. That's
he's lovely.
Sport.
He's lovely, isn't he? Thanks so much for that, Tom.
Good evening. Well, a bit of a swing around in the weather for some today. Hobart, however, still stuck on 19 degrees. Burnie and Devonport also 19 today. Launceston recorded 24. Now, that was too short of the state's high of 26 at Ouse. A below-average night, though, last night. Liaweenie dropped to -1. Cressy 25 degrees. Campania 23. Grove 22. Liaweenie did warm up to 21. Friendly Beaches and Flinders Island 20. King Island and Strawn 19. Convective cloud formed over the northeast of the state today, otherwise mainly fine across the state, a little bit over the west getting ready to cross. The southeast of the mainland also quite bereft of cloud, however widespread cloud and thunderstorms over the Coral Sea as TC Owen breaks apart. The northern tropics also a little wet, some cloud also over the interior of WA. There's tomorrow's chart, and the high over the Tasman Sea extends a ridge over Queensland. A cold front crosses waters south of the Bight. The trough continues over the mainland. Winds northwest to northeast at 10 to 20 knots, increasing to 30 knots over the lower east. Inshore afternoon sea breezes over southern coastal areas. We have a strong wind warning for waters between Wineglass Bay and Tasman Island. Hot and mostly sunny for Hobart, not 19 anymore, up to 30 degrees tomorrow. 29 for Cygnet, hot for New Norfolk and 32. Launceston, fine, partly cloudy and 27, 22 the top for Devonport and 27 for Campbelltown. Burnie tomorrow, partly cloudy, 21 the top, 29 for Strawn, a sunny day in the west and partly cloudy for Smithton. St Helens tomorrow, partly cloudy and 24, up to 28 for Swansea, mostly sunny for Fingal and 29. UV extreme all over, which means sunscreen all over. On Friday, mainly fine apart from showers over the west extending to the far south during the afternoon. Partly cloudy on Saturday, maybe a shower over the southwest, south and east, while on Sunday a few showers over the central north, more likely on higher ground, fine for the rest of the state. Hot and sunny in Adelaide tomorrow, similar weather for Melbourne, cloudy over Sydney, a few showers for Brisbane, 27 there, and a possible storm for Darwin. And it's fine and sunny, 19 in Hobart, 22 in Launceston, Devonport 17 degrees. Joe, this is more like it, and after your afternoon in the sun, you're looking browner already.
Didn't spend the whole afternoon in the sun. Thank you very much, Merv. That's all from the team for now. Have a lovely evening. Bye-bye.